Hi, in this video, we'll look at how the OAuth2 authorization framework works, right? We'll also look at a small graphic, how this whole things come together, and in the end, I'll give a small demo on the implementation. I'll not be implementing, like I'll not be coding in this video. I'll just show how the process works. Also, I will go through the official documentation, the specs of OAuth2 to really understand, because there's a lot of confusion how it really works. So we'll go to the real source and try to read it and understand how it works. Okay, so let's get started reading the abstract. OAuth2 is an authorization framework, enables third-party application to obtain limited access to an HTTP service, either on behalf of the resource owner or orchestrating an approval interaction between the resource owner and HTTP service. So a lot of big words and sort of confusing. I think a lot of people just stop here, but I think we should read the official documentation to really understand how framework is working. So I'll just scroll down to somewhere where it's like written more easier language. Okay, so here it says, in traditional client server authentication model, the client requests an access restricted resource on the server by authenticating with the server using resource credential. So when you want to access, say, your Google data, right? So how you do it? You just have to mention your username and password, right? And you can get into your Google account and you can access all the data. So that is the traditional way. Now, suppose you want to give access to that data, to your Google data, to a third party. For example, suppose you want to log in with Zomato or sign up with Zomato, right? So Zomato is a food delivery service in India, right? So this is a third party application. You want to use your Google account to, just log in and share your photo and share maybe your email ID with Zomato. Or maybe a better example can be there is a printing service, and it is mentioned in this documentation only, which wants to, print your photos, and your photos are on Google Drive, right? So you cannot individually upload all the photos on that printing service. You just want to give access to your drive, right? How will you do it? One simple way is just to share your password, but sharing password has a lot of limitations, which they mention here. um, of course, storing the password will for future use also. This is sort of a bit risky, right? Also, passwords are not the best way to to secure an account, because passwords are very easy to crack. Other issues with password is you cannot control what you want to share. So if you share a password with some third party of your Google account, your whole account is sort of compromised, so they can access the full resource. But suppose you just want to share a folder, right? You don't want to share the whole thing, whole of your Google account. You cannot do that. Tomorrow, if you want to revoke the access, that is very difficult. Can change your password, but uh, you know if that password is shared across 10 different apps, then that will be a challenge. You have to change the password of those 10. And of course, if the third party you have shared the password with, who has stored that password, gets hacked, your password is leaked, right? So that is a big sort of issues with sharing the password. So that is the crux of the problem which OAuth is designed to solve. How can a person like you share your which to call the resource owner, can share their resources on Google or on any service which is creating this OAuth with a third party, which is, say, Zomato in this example, right, without sharing your password. So that is the main framework is designed to do. So how OAuth does it is by not by asking you to grant the permission and then issuing a client access token. So here you can see they are not, you're not giving your password, but you are just giving a client access token, right? So here you can read also in OAuth, the client request access to resources controlled by the resource owner and hosted by resource server, and it issued a different set of credentials. So this is a different set of credentials than your password. What it is an access token, right? And the token has the benefit now of the scope which we were talking about. Now you can say, okay, I just want to share this folder. You can say I want to share this till 2 days. This is the lifetime and other attributes as well. Access tokens are issued to the third-party clients by authorization server within the approval of the resource owner. Now resource owner is you, authorization server is which sort of issues the authorization token or the access token, right? The client uses the access token to access the protected information, which is Zomato in this case. So also they have given one example of that printing service. So printing service is our client, and access to, suppose you, an end user wants to give access to the protected photos stored at a photo service, which is the resource server, without sharing her username and password. So this is the main crux, right? Want to share some data with a third party. The data is hosted again on some other service, but you don't want to share your username and password. So what she does is she authenticates directly with the server trusted by the photo sharing service, which issues the token, right? So this is, I think, you can read about this more. Some, like we have already discussed, is you, resource server is like say Google server where all the data is stored. Client is like a Zomato which wants to access that data, and authorization server is again which issues the access token, and this is again implemented by the resource server or the whoever is giving this OAuth as a service, which is in this example Google, right? Um, one last thing, this diagram is very important um, before we move to the demo, right? So here you can see this is the client, so this is Zomato. So Zomato sends an authorization request to you. You grant an authorization by putting in your username and password. Then once that you grant the authorization, then Zomato takes that authorization grant, hits the authorization server, gets a token, and then hits the resource server, gets the protected resource. So this is like the whole flow, what happens in OAuth. You can also read about it here, right? And so it says client requests the authorization from the resource owner. The authorization request can be made directly to the resource owner or preferably indirectly via the authorization server as implemented. So this is very important. So because your username and password should never go to Zomato, it should always remain with Google, right? We'll also see how this actually happens. You will see Zomato will redirect to the Google page, and there you will enter username and password. So you're never entering your username and password on Zomato. Hence, you are doing this kind of thing. You're directly entering on the Google's authorization server, and then in the background, if your credentials are correct, Google's authorization server is sharing an access token, and with that access token, Zomato is hitting your hitting the resource server of Google and getting that resource, which can be something like a photo or your email ID or name, etc. Right? And I think I'll link this doc. You can read more. But yeah, this is the whole flow. Of course, there's a lot more details here. Let's see the demo to finally end it. So I'll go to zomato.com, right? So once I'm in zomato.com, I can say login with signing with Google. I'll just, now here you can see. So what are the steps? So once I clicked on sign in with Google, it redirects me to the Google page. So here you can see the URL is of Google. Now Zomato is nowhere in the picture, right? So, and here is where that, this step, authorization grant step is happening, right? So here Google is asking, confirm you want to sign in with Zomato as this. And so Zomato will take your email address, profile picture, name, right? So here I'm giving that confirmation that, okay, I want to share this data. If I say confirm, now Zomato has now received an access token from Google. With that access token has hit the Google server, and in the response it got the photo. So you can see photo is already received from Google, the name is received, and email ID is also received, right? So yeah, this is it. I think a good way to move forward now is to implement it yourself, and really understand the nuances. Also, I'll recommend, highly recommend you read at least the introduction part of it, and then go towards implementation. So yeah, let me know how you like this video, and for more such videos, please like, share, and subscribe.